So this is the video that I didn't want to do, but yeah, it's happened. Tories have a big majority now. I think it's whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the number is. The number is the fact is they won. First of all, I want to shout out Homage Beats because I'm going to use a couple of his instrumentals in this one. And this is the 29 UK General Election Autopsy Part 1. And we're going to be looking at some of the things that I think cost us the election and some of the things that other people have said have cost us the election. Us being the Labour Party, obviously, not the Lib Dems. But yeah, alright, let's dive into this one. So first of all, let's look at the man himself, the dear leader, Jeremy Corbyn. He's deeply unpopular. We knew this from the jump. And we're going to see a bit more evidence on the impact he's had as well. So you can see 21% of people have a positive opinion, 61% a negative opinion, 16% neutral, so they don't care, and the 99% of people have heard of him out of the 6,474, so whatever that 1% is not going to be very high. People that haven't heard of him, shouts out those people because they're not very involved in politics and probably have happy lives. So go to the next one, Johnson. Let's look at his favourability. 35, so he's what, 14 points higher, 47% negative, 16% neutral, and you know the sample size is about the same. So we can't claim any, and there's no favourability there. His favourability rating is even that high, so clearly he's not very popular either. And if we look at the Guardian, what they say is 5 reasons why they lost. Number 1 being Corbyn. If you go to the doorstep, you actually talk to people. They say that they can't vote Labour because they don't like the guy. They don't trust him. They don't believe in the policies put out, which is partially his fault, partially the fault of Conference who voted on some of these policies. So there's that. Labour campaigners say his support for the Irish Republican movement. So that's unification of Ireland came up repeatedly on the doorstep. In London, anti-Semitism was an issue. That's something I'm going to look at in a minute or a few minutes. A long-standing Corbyn critic lost her seat in Stoke North, told Sky News the reason why his personal actions have delivered the result for my constituents and for swathes of the country overnight. So he's deeply unpopular. We knew that in the PLP. He was not very popular. I like the guy personally. I knew he had issues in the past, some of the things that he said, some of the people he's spoken to. But then if we did a character analysis on Boris Johnson, we'd see that he's worse in a lot of respects. But that doesn't matter now. What matters here is he wasn't as a person, his past, there were massive issues there and they were amplified by the press, but people caught on to these, people listened to these things. The manifesto was too big, it was potentially too ambitious. The free broadband thing was something that I thought they definitely should have saved for the next election. If there was a re-election campaign, that's something to go for, especially if nationalisation of trains works out. You can talk about broadband, talking about how it's going to help productivity and poorer people who can't afford internet connection for their kids to do homework, so they don't have to go to the library and rent a computer. That would have been helpful. But yeah, people see this as a weird luxury. Why are they offering this? They didn't make the case. They didn't do this 2 years in advance. They didn't put the groundwork in. It was just dropped. Right, so there's that. It was a program for 10 years. So we've got the Labour Party went in onto this election thinking, yes, we're going to win now and we're going to win again. That's a dangerous thing to think about. And the one cliche that football managers always talk about is, we're going to think about the next game and 3 points. That's how elections should be. You want to win this one, and then after that you figure out what to do next. Once you're 3-4 years in, you can look at what issues are left and then you go in and deal with it. But no, they went in with the belief very ambitiously that we're going to win this one and the next one. The Brexit strategy failed because we lost the seats in the north and we didn't win enough seats in the south. I think we won 2 from the Conservative Party. One was Putney and I can't remember the other one. And I reckon if Justine Greening had stayed in Putney, we wouldn't have won that seat. It was just because the Conservative guy might have been an unknown. But yeah, they ignored the Brexit voters, and I've seen a lot of hot takes from people like Grace Blakely, who said that look, 2017 we had we're going to pursue a Norway-style deal, and therefore look how popular Corbyn was in 2017, and now what's changed is that we're going to support a second referendum. Now, Grace Blakely is very intelligent, but on this issue, she's very wrong. She's very, very wrong on this one. A lot has changed. The manifesto is far more ambitious this time round. We don't have someone as timid and as weak as Theresa May in the Conservative Party. Someone who, yes, ducked debates like Boris Johnson, but she looked like she did it out of weakness. Johnson looked like he was busy. He was actually doing stuff, going around the country, delivering milk and whatever else, hiding in fridges. You know, he's looking like he was busy. Too busy to do these debates. Instead, he did softball ones, like with Philip Schofield and Andrew Marr. To an extent, he's a soft touch, and so he looked busy. Theresa May looked like she wasn't doing this out of weakness. Johnson just looked like he was doing other things, right? So some of these people, like these hardcore ideologues who don't want to blame Corbyn, who just want to blame the sort of the more centristy people within the party, saying that it was the Brexit strategy at fault. Partially, yes, but also the fact that Corbyn is deeply unpopular. There are nuances to this. This is not one issue problem, okay? And I saw Mehdi Hassan put a tweet out saying that, look, Corbyn won the most vote share of any Labour leader since 2001, and now he's done the worst, I think, post-war. So it's not a single issue that has caused this, it's a multitude of issues. But to say that the issue is that we changed our Brexit stance, that's why we lost, is so stupid. It's unreal how dumb that take is, purely because 2017 and 2019 are very different years. People have got Brexit fatigue, people just want this issue done, and that's why the Conservative mantra of get Brexit done was pure genius, because that's all people heard of. Yeah, the issue's finally going to be dealt with, and then we move on. People didn't want, you know, I like the idea of, look, we do a referendum within 6 months, we get a deal within 3, do a referendum within 6, and the issue's done. But clearly other people didn't want this. People wanted this issue to be resolved as quickly as possible, and we know that's a lie, because once the withdrawal agreement has been passed, then they go on to trying to figure out a deal which will take minimum 2 years, and that's very ambitious, saying that trade deals take up to 7 years. And I saw Katia Adler on BBC saying that, look, the EU can, if Boris Johnson said, look, I want this done within 2 years, the EU can say, fine, we can do a quick and dirty deal, but it's going to be on our terms. And the Norwegian, one of the top Norwegian ministers have already put EU fishing rights on the table. So what's Johnson going to do? If he wants this quick deal, yeah, it's going to come with major concessions on our part. So what's he going to do? Is he going to go for the big PR stunt? Is he going to go for that Munich-style agreement? Look, I've got a piece of paper in my hand, this is the agreement, and it's all done. Or is he going to spend 7 years trying to figure out a deal? I don't know the answer to that. We'll wait and see. But clearly, the Brexit strategy was a core problem. The collapse of the Red Wall, obviously, that's down to Brexit supporters, Brexit Labour voters as well. The election strategy, it just didn't work overall. And this is a good Guardian piece by, who is this by? Kate Proctor. And I'll try and put this one in the description of the video. This one's worth a read. But yeah, she's right on this one. And so if we go on, if we look at this opinion poll here, we can see that the reasons why people don't want to vote, didn't vote Labour, all of the people who didn't vote Labour this time round, the only annoyance of this, there's no sample size, but this is just a screen grab, in fairness. I couldn't find the original website, which is really frustrating, but this seems pretty accurate, so we'll go with it. 43% people said the leadership, 17 stance on Brexit, economic policies, yeah. Labour defectors, total, all of them, the leader. Labour defectors to the Lib Dem, the leader, which is ironic that you're going to a party with Joe Swinson, but okay, weird flex, but whatever. Labour defectors, the Conservative, look at that, 45% the leader, that's almost half. Stance on Brexit, economic policies, way down there. So you can make the argument that Corbynism is popular, but you have to accept at the same time then that Corbyn is not popular. And I did see some decent tweets down here which show that, look, Corbyn wasn't popular potentially due to the right-wing press, but the right-wing press are always after Labour leaders. Apart from Blair, he's the only one whose side they were on, okay? And so Ed Miliband got slated by the press because he couldn't eat a bacon sandwich properly. He got slated by the press, calling him, you know, a ton of names, calling him very unpopular, very stupid, okay? So I'm not going to have it that it's just down to the press that we lost. Yeah, the press are always on the side, the tabloids are always on the side, apart from the Mirror, of the Conservatives. Okay, we knew this from the jump. Don't try and blame them. the BBC did cause problems, and also Robert Peston. I'll get onto them in a minute. But if we look at more important issues, the anti-Semitism thing was a real problem. It was a real problem. And if we look at the Chakrabarti report, this was published in 2016. This was funded by the Labour Party. Shami Chakrabarti, she's a very intelligent lady, and there was some sort of, not allegations, but sort of the idea that it could be corrupt, that she was put up for a peerage. She became a baroness after this. From what I've seen of her, her integrity is not that bad. She's an honest actor, and she talks about a lot of things in this. She doesn't talk about, she said the Labour Party is not institutionally anti-Semitic, but she does talk about there are issues with the complaints process, that the complaints process is not very clear, and people don't know who to talk to, and people don't trust the process. So what happens is they run to the press. You run to the press to get the story out and say, look, this is what happened, I've been abused, the party did nothing about it, or I didn't know who to talk to. There should be a clear structure, and it should be done in confidence, and things should be kept secret up until the results of whatever investigations happen come out. So we see this from the Financial Times, that the Jewish Labour Movement have put out a 47-page report saying that there were no accurate figures of how many complaints have been dealt with under the party's complaint process, and the alleged leaked documents include signalling by the party leader that anti-Semitic views are acceptable. I don't believe that, and that Corbyn had repeatedly associates with and sympathised and engaged with anti-Semitism. I don't accept that, but this is from the Jewish Labour Movement that have been with the party since 1920. So it's not about, this monolith of Jews are greedy and all of these things. That's simply not the case. Okay, I don't believe in that. I believe people are individuals. People believe what they believe, right? There are Jewish people on the left, David Pachman, Sam Cedar. They're the two guys in America I follow the most. Both of them are Jewish. I don't care, of what your religion is. I care about what your personal views are. I will not monolith people. No one should be treated as a monolith. Neither me, as an Asian person, or for what I believe in, or you, whoever you are listening to this, okay? And so the Jewish Labour Movement have been there since 1920. They've been there through Clement Attlee, massive left-winger. They've been there through Michael Foot, massive left-winger. So to say that this is, the Jewish people are saying this only because they don't believe in left-wing ideals, simply not true. And I won't have that. I will not have that. So it's simply not the case. They believe that there were serious problems here, and clearly they didn't know who to complain to. The structure wasn't in place, and there were issues with the Panorama documentary that came out, and other such people complaining about the system. And a lot of people claim that, look, this is just there to damage Corbyn, but that these people that have been there for so long, and all of these people out here just to snake Corbyn, I just don't believe that. And I hope that there's a proper investigation, a proper structure is put into place. And so this is some of the redacted bits of the leaked document there. There's no Control F, so I can't really dig through all of this. So I'll leave this until the investigation is complete. There's the rest of the report there. Mass reports of this were coming out. Corbyn apologised, but an apology is simply not good enough. A structure should have been put in place far before. What was the Labour structure under Ed Miliband or Blair? It clearly doesn't look like there was a structure there. So when an issue happens under Corbyn, where people think they can get away with this stuff, which is not necessarily Corbyn's fault, but once that happens, a structure should have been put in place. People should have been there. People with expertise. People who understand the issues. That understand, the language, the nuances. Okay, because if we go back to this Financial Times one, God, where is it? There was one person who said, yeah, one former staffer of the leader's office, right? So he was a guy who worked directly under Corbyn in the leader's office, reported that he had been subject to an inquisition about being Jewish, including his views on Israel. So they asked this man, who is Jewish, several questions. Okay, why? Why are you asking these questions for? Do you not trust this man? Because if you don't trust him, surely there's someone you should report him to within the party and say that, look, I have issues with this person because of X reason or whatever. Why are you asking this man all these questions? Yeah? If you go to me, a Muslim person, you say, oh, what are your opinions on Saudi Arabia? What are your opinions on your home country, Bangladesh? What am I going to think? I'm going to think, are you stupid? Like, why are you asking me this question for? Why are you asking this person these questions? Why? What do you hope to gain out of this? Okay? So, carrying on. So we go on to some of the problems that were out of Corbyn's control. So 88% of Tory ads were found misleading compared to 0% from Labour. There were issues. I think Full Fact did say that Labour Party didn't put out any misleading ads, but some of the more misleading things like being charged 5,000 for birth or something like that was misleading, but because it wasn't an ad, it kind of doesn't fall into that. But it was retweeted by a lot of people, like an organic push by people to spread this information. But yeah, that happened. 88% of Tory ads found misleading. Yeah, that's a massive number. That's the vast majority of them. So that's an issue. And so we look at this, right? If you can look, can't. Is that gonna full screen it? No. Okay. Anyways, so we have Robert Peston, ITV. I don't know who this geezer is or this person, right? Hopefully you can read it anyways. So Robert Peston puts out a tweet. It was Matt Hancock's advisor who was whacked in the face by a protester as he tried to help Hancock into his car outside the Leeds General Hospital. All sounds very unpleasant. Laura Kunzberg works for the BBC. She's one of their lead correspondents. So Matt Hancock was dispatched to Leeds Hospital to sort out the mess. Yeah, the mess, talking about the child I was talking about yesterday, Jack, who had to sleep on the floor because there were no beds. Hearing that Labour activists scrambled to go, plus protest, and it turned nasty when they arrived. One of them was punched in the face. So you're going to think that this is pretty bad, right? You know, he's been knocked out like some sort of UFC nonsense, right? So let's look at this video. Right? There's the punch there. Look, he's gone down there. How he's managed to stay up, I have no idea. Look, he's still walking. He's been punched. Look at this. Vicious. Vicious punch. Our country. Vicious. Look at that. Absolute KO there. God. And so they put this out unequivocally, and these two specifically, Robert Peston and Laura Kunzberg, have tweeted out whatever these Tory sources that they've had, right? Downing Street sources. They've tweeted them out uncritically and put them out word for word. Like there's some sort of Tory mouthpiece. So there are issues with the press. I've just given you a few, just there, small ones, right? And so there was, I was trying to find, there were some figures I saw. I'll have to put them in after, about how Labour. So it's Edit Emerge back again, and this is the thing that I was talking about. So you can see here that Labour struggled both in Leave seats, lost 10% of votes that they had previously in 2017, and also Remain seats. So they lost 6.4%. So to make the argument that it's purely on the Brexit policy, unless you're going to argue that taking a half-hearted policy of doing a deal and then doing a second referendum was the main thing that damaged the party, then saying that because Labour switched from a Norway deal to a referendum is simply not the case. Labour struggled both in Leave and Remain. A person torn between two objectives is determined to fail, and I guess you can make the argument here that this simply happened, but factoring in the stuff I've said about the leader already, it's clear that this is not a single issue thing. More likely reason is the fact that Corbyn was just very unpopular, and the policies people believed that were unsustainable, and the Labour Party played into the mantra of, you know, the big spending party who do it unsustainably. You know, they walked straight into that trap card. Bam, you're big spenders. What did they do? They put out the biggest spending manifesto ever. And you can say that, oh, you know, these are the things that people need and the Labour Party believe in. But at the same time, the main role of a political party is to win. So you need to figure out which policies are important when it comes to nationalisation, or which policies are important when it comes to helping people. Yeah, you can't just go full all out. We will nationalise some of these industries that people aren't interested in nationalising. People believe they work. I don't believe the internet companies are that good. Sometimes I get upload speeds and download speeds of like 2 megabytes per second. What the hell, BT? Yeah, but I don't believe in nationalising stuff. I feel like you can make reforms to it, and you can put in rules saying that people need to get X amount of speed. Otherwise, the companies can get sued, class action lawsuit. Yeah, but I don't believe nationalising it now is the answer. Maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, when 10 gigabit internet becomes a bit more mainstream, but not now. Now, if you say nationalise the railway, fine. I believe that the railway system in this country is a joke. Nationalise the buses, fine. The bus system in this country is a joke. Yeah, and you focus on those issues, the ones that actually impact people the most. That's how you can do a lot better compared to how the Labour Party was like, yeah, we'll nationalise this and that, and we'll borrow more money and we'll tax people, but you can't put a specific number on how much money you're going to get from Google and Amazon. Because A, we don't know how much tax they avoid, and B, we don't know exactly how we're going to make them pay tax. So it just looked unsustainable. But going on to the next point, which is about the failure of the so-called Remain alliance. That should have happened, right? These parties should have worked together. All three, the Greens, the Lib Dems, and Labour, should have looked at the Conservative Party as the big threat, right? The big threat that should have been dealt with, and that will stand down candidates in these seats and will help you out. And if you win, brilliant. If you lose, you can't blame us. What happens? Your damn say and pride gets in the way. Yeah, you, Joe Swinson, you, Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, how does your pride feel now? Swinson, you lost your seat. Corbyn, you're not going to run in the next. You're not going to run as leader in the next election. How does your say and pride feel now? You're battered, mate. All of you, both of you, are a joke, absolute joke. So if we look at this, right, you had genuine chances to win, and yeah, you can say that. Look, if the Lib Dems didn't run in this seat, it's not guaranteed it'll go to Labour. Maybe it'll go to none of these parties, wherever. Emma Dent, she almost won the seat of Kensington again, right? And Kensington is the constituency in which Grenfell Tower happened, right? When the tower burnt down. Now they have a Conservative MP, Conservatives who don't care about the people of Grenfell, right? Now they have a Tory MP. Well done, guys. You've given these people an MP who will not care at all about them. Does not care. Well done. Yeah, and if we look at Chingford here, this is one I had high hopes for. Fawzia Shaheen, she ran a brilliant campaign. That actor guy, Hugh Grant, I've never watched any of his films. I think he was down there helping. Yeah, what happens? Yeah, and it's going to be hard to tell you that if Jeff Sigh didn't run, then she would have won. I can't make that argument completely, but it would have given her a much better chance of winning. And no one can blame the Lib Dems. Yeah. No one can say that, oh, it's your fault we didn't win in this seat, and no one can say in other seats that the Lib Dems lost because of Labour. Because if you look at, let's see if I can find the 2017 results, the Lib Dem vote is about the same, right? It's about 2,000, yeah? So it's higher now. It's higher now than it was in 2017, right? And I think Fawzia Shaheen, she's relatively new as a politician. I'm not sure what she did before that, but I believe it was some sort of role helping people. She's a good lady. She's a good person. She would have been a brilliant MP. But well done, Jeff, mate. You've cost us here, the Lib Dems. And I'm not going to make the point that it's just the Lib Dems' fault, because in certain seats, if Labour hadn't run, the Lib Dems would have had a good shot of winning. In Rob's seat, I think there was a good chance. I haven't got that up at the moment. But looky here. I can't blame these other two parties, right? Because Sally Keeble, she only lost by 800. This is my local Labour candidate. Last time out, she only lost by 801 votes. This time round, no contest. He won by 5,000 votes last time out. So if we look here, yeah, there's a small amount. And so you can make the case here that the Lib Dems and the Green Party didn't help the Labour Party, but also UKIP didn't help the Conservative Party. If the Brexit Party ran here, it might have been a different story, but we don't know. We don't know how much the Conservative Party, the Brexit Party took from the Conservatives and from Labour in those northern seats, or if they did run in this seat, how much they would have taken in this seat, right? But what I can tell you is, Michael Ellis, a guy people don't like. There are Conservative people who don't like him. He still won, yeah, and that's partly because the people I spoke to on the doorstep when I went canvassing a couple of times, they were saying, no, I like Sally a lot, but I can't vote for, a vote for Sally is a vote for Corbyn. So it goes back to the fact that he was deeply unpopular. The press are at fault for some of this, but there are nuances to this. Yeah, there was a guy I spoke to who was talking about what's Sally's Brexit policy, and I listed him a bunch of lies told by Brexiters that didn't happen. The 350 on a bus. Them talking about we won't need the single market. No one's threatening the rights of EU citizens, right? And the guy was like, oh, fair enough. And I was like, look, just take the leaflet and just think about it. Think about what was said during the referendum, and think about what's said now. Okay, I don't know how the guy voted. He probably voted as he was going to vote. I probably made no difference, but I tried, right? So I can't make the case that if the Lib Dems and Greens didn't run, Sally Keeble would have had a good shot here, because it's simply not the case. But things were that bad in Northampton, right? Even the goddamn New York Times was covering this. The New York Times, the big paper, yeah? Big newspaper in America, covering Northampton. Yeah, council's bankrupt, right? Money gone. I think it was a deficit so big that councils are stripping away all but the minimum services required by law. So if the law didn't require these services, these would be gone, right? they hired some dodgy company to do the bins and to take care of the town, you know, cutting the grass and things. That company didn't do it. They had to replace them. It took about 6-7 months, and they finally did it, right? But it was a joke. People came paying council tax and getting nothing in return, right? The town is being run as a joke, yeah? And this joker, who did denounce the council, in fairness, yeah, they still voted him in. Because people in this town voted Brexit without understanding the true implications, yeah, because it wasn't said enough in the press. We should have gone after him more on it. We should have gone after the fact that Boris gets his agreement through and it's not even over, not even close, and he's done the easy bit of getting the withdrawal agreement through and agreed, right? Now he's got to do a deal. He's got to put a border in the Irish Sea between the UK and Ireland, because border checks will have to happen, because if the UK is exporting goods that are going to the Republic of Ireland, it's going to have to be checked. Unless you go around the Northern Irish border and you go straight into Ireland like that. But if you're in certain areas, that's not feasible. It's stupid doing that. So there's going to be border checks, right? So that's going to be the difficult bit. You know, Irish unification has been sped up massively. Scotland will probably leave. They voted massively for the SNP. The SNP won the vast majority of seats. They took Joe Swinton's seat, right? And they did as well as I think they did in 2015. So they're going to go for independence again. Braveheart returns, part 2. So what happens now? The union's going to crumble. I worry about the NHS. I worry about a lot of the things within the country. People voted Conservative again. But here we can see that there were deep-rooted issues. It's not as simple as, oh, Corbyn was at fault completely, because the Brexit policy was, Labour's Brexit policy was decided in conference. It was decided democratically by the Labour members. So we can't fully blame him for that, but we can blame him for his past. We can blame him for the fact that the party didn't deal with anti-Semitism properly. We can blame him for the fact that people believed he was giving them he was allowing it to fester within the party, and he was an excuse. Because this man here, right, it's heartbreaking for him that people would ask him questions, right, about his past. But the one Labour MP, out of all the ones that lost their seat, the one I feel for most is Dennis Skinner, former miner, yeah, from a mining town that's decimated by Thatcher, right? He's lost his seat. He's been a Labour man. He's 87 years old now. I hope you enjoy retirement, mate. I really do, because you're a sound person who did his best. You didn't believe in the EU, but you didn't vote for Johnson's deal because you knew the damage it would do, and he's lost his seat. So well done, guys. Well done. Yeah, your damn Satan pride has gone in the way, and I'm going to do my best to just end it here, because I'm going to keep rambling, and it's not going to be good. So I'll end it here. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. What cost the Labour Party if you guys are watching this? And subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.